Hi everyone, today we are going to be planting out some red and white Russian kale. This is one of the easiest crops you can grow. I'm going to go ahead and grow them in my cut flower garden right between the anemones and the tulips I have growing here. The recommended amount of spacing you need to grow your kale is 2 to 3 feet apart. However, I like to push the limits and I'm going to go ahead and plant mine 8 inches apart. I know. This is really close spacing. I do this to discourage weeds from growing, and I also harvest really young. I will discuss later on in the video how I harvest these, but I just want to show you how easy it is to start these from seed. Okay, so what we're going to need for planting these seeds is our kale seeds. We're going to need a cup, and we're also going to need soil. So I'm going to go ahead and just read the back of this just so that you can see the sowing instructions and how my method kind of differs from the instructions. So it says here, sow seeds as soon as soil can be worked in early spring. Sow seeds 6 inches apart in rows 18 to 24 inches apart, covering with 1/8 fine soil well pressed down. Plant kale again in late July through August for fall and winter crops. The germination rate is 1 to 2 weeks depending on the weather and soil warmth. Since we're going to be planting indoors, that germination rate is going to look like maybe 3 to 4 days. We'll see some germination going on. So I don't mean to be a rebel, but I'm not going to be following the instructions. I'm going to be planting them indoors first. I'm going to plant about 10 to 20 seeds. I like to plant them in bulk and let them all come up together. And once they have their true leaves are the second set of leaves that come up. So you have your sprouting leaves, and then you have the second pair of leaves that look like actual kale. Little miniature kale. So that's when I decide to separate them and space them around 8 to 12 inches apart. I like to grow them really close together, but the recommended amount of spacing is 2 to 3 feet apart. So now that we're done planting these seeds, I agitated the soil so that way that the seeds could have a little bit of soil over them. Now what I'm going to just do is just label the container and then find a nice sunny spot to go ahead and place this. I'm just using a window that gets a good amount of sunlight, and we will get some good sprouts out of this. Okay, let's get to planting them in the garden. Now that they have sprouted and they have true leaves, they're ready to go in the garden. I just wiggle the roots apart from one another and they do just fine, even if a couple of roots snap off. As long as it has a root system, it'll thrive. They're a rugged plant. Now let's talk plant care. So you're going to need to plant these in a sunny location. You're also going to need to feed them at least once a month. They're heavy feeders. Any plant that is a part of the brassica family are heavy feeders, and kale is one of them. And lastly, you're going to want to look out for pests. So moths and butterflies love to lay their eggs on the underside of kale leaves. So once you start seeing a caterpillar or orange little eggs on the bottom of the leaves, try to pick those off as soon as possible, because once they start eating the leaves, they can decimate the plant really quickly. That we got everything covered, I'm gonna go ahead and continue planting these out, but I wanted to show you how cute these little red Russian kales look like. They just look like miniature grown plants. They're so beautiful. I love the red veining and the beautiful green leaves. So I'll go ahead and play some music as I plant these along, but I'm just going to plant them in a straight row in between these tulips and anemones, and continue to plant until I run out of these. This is a perfect example of how rough you can be with these plants, and they'll be just fine. All right, so we are done planting these up. So I got a good trail of them going on in between the tulips and anemones. I can't wait to see what they look like once they start getting bigger. They're going to look like foliage in between these two varieties of flowers. If you grow these varieties, would you let me know how you like to grow them? Do you grow them close to each other, or do you abide by the 2 to 3 feet apart? Let me know. I'm so curious. Well, friends, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video, but if you enjoy videos like these, please consider subscribing. And if you like the video, would you please give it a thumbs up? That really boosts my appearance on the algorithm, so more people have access to my content. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.